The biggest goal of ArkCase was really to drive the user configuration through the actual interface or in the admin module, where you can manipulate a lot of the actual functionality. I'm going to show you how some of that's done. As you can see here, security is your first section. How do you create users? How do you actually create the actual roles and the privileges that these individual roles have? Well, our integration with Active Directory allows you to utilize many different ways to sync your users over. Once you sync your users over, you do have the ability to then tie those individual groups to functional access control. The functional access control is the role-based access that I talked about earlier. Everything in the application is driven through role-based access, which means that if you do not have the role associated to your group, that role, obviously any of the privileges that role has, you will not have in the system, which means that modules may not be there for you to see. You may not have the ability to add documents. You may not even have access to a specific case. The great thing about functional access control is that you can create as many individual roles and the privileges associated by clicking on the Create Role Privileges. You can edit roles, create new privileges, and once again, you can build out your roles and then tie them back to your functional access where you tie your role to your group. You also have the ability to hide specific modules. So for instance, you notice that we have all of our modules on the left-hand side. In real time, you can actually change this. So maybe I don't want to have access to the actual cost and time tracking. So I'll go ahead and remove the cost. And you'll notice very quickly it already updated to remove the cost module. I could remove other modules too if I decided to do so. Additionally, you do have the ability to maintain your email templates. You can see a list of all the email templates that come out of the box, but you can edit those. You can edit the actual link to what actual templates fire when certain things happen, like if it's a case file, when you're sending attachments, what does that actual template look like? You do also have the ability to manage your widgets. That first home page, that dashboard screen, and all the widgets that are available to Ann versus Sally versus Ian, you have the ability to maintain those here and see all the out-of-the-box widgets. If you create your own widgets for your specific implementation, they would also be listed here, and you can give access to these individual widgets. For instance, the team workload is only available to a role administrator, which means that whatever group that's tied to has access to it. And I know that Ann actually has access to it. So I'm actually going to go out and I'm actually going to take a look to make sure that she has access to the team workflow widget. So I'm going to go out and take a look and see if she has access to the team workload widget. As you can see here, we actually see that she actually has this on her dashboard now, so she's utilizing that widget. You also see it here in the actual widget. Let's go back to admin and let's remove that access from anyone. So go into the dashboard configuration. We'll actually grab that team workload widget and we'll go ahead and take any access away. You'll notice that that action was successful. Let's jump back to the dashboard and take a look and see what that looks like. As you can see now, the widget is completely stripped away from the actual dashboard. It automatically real-time takes it away from not only the dashboard, but from anyone from adding it from their actual list if they had previous access to it. So once again, as you notice there, restricting modules, restricting dashboard widgets, and also restricting reports, very similar. If you want to give access to the reports, you control it from here. If not, you can actually take away the access. And then once again, real time, it will update the reports module. You'll notice that the case details is only assigned to a specific group. Once again, the case summary is not. The complaint reports are both assigned to an admin group. So let's go ahead and remove that admin group for the complaint report. It was successfully done. All I have to do is go right out to the reports module, and you'll notice now I only have 2 reports. Maybe I want to restrict that other complaint report. So I can go right back into the reports configuration, grab that report, and restrict it. Very easy, all in real time. Without refreshing your page, you'll notice that we have updated our reports list. This gives access to restrict not only your individual modules, your dashboards, your reports, but you can restrict them to many different variations. Maybe you want someone to have access to the reports module, but you only want them to have access to a specific report and not all the reports. So you can get into granular details. Also within the reports configuration, I talked about being able to create your own report. By clicking on the report designer, you'll notice it takes us to another screen that allows us to browse out to our existing folders and see the different files or reports that we actually have available. You can see here are the 4 that are available. I do have the ability to select one. I can copy it and work off of that one. I can edit it, or I can actually go right back out to the home screen and I can actually create a brand new interactive report. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Once I click New Interactive Report, I can actually pick my data source. Today I went ahead and picked the ArkCase database. This ArkCase database actually allows you to see all the different tables and columns that you can actually pull, drag and drop from. To make it simple, I went ahead and just grabbed the case file. I can actually grab any of many different tables in the database. That allows you to design your actual reports right here in this screen. All you have to do is actually grab the actual column you want, like case ID, and then you can actually drop it right into the actual form. So all you got to do is grab case number, and we'll drop it right in here. You can actually then change whether you want it to be grouped or columned. We're going to go ahead and add a few other things. Let's go ahead and grab the actual date, or maybe let's go ahead and grab the actual case type, and let's put it in as a column also. Additionally to that, we can actually add some other information. Maybe you wanted to add the modified date. Once again, there's a lot of information you can add. This is just a sampling of what you can do. You can add from many different tables, combining reports, and then you can actually group them together. Maybe you wanted to group them by the actual case number. The great thing about this is it's as easy as dragging and dropping this information. You also have the ability to format this in any way you want to, whether it's color. You can change the actual format to really anything you want. You also can double click and actually change the actual information. You can actually change the information by just double clicking, entering the information, hitting enter. You also can actually change a lot of the titles and columns here in the actual form. You also can change the actual title of each of the columns here in the report. You also have the ability to drag and drop, move the columns around. You also have the ability to actually restrict the information and sort the information, aggregate the information, summarize the information, things along those lines. Extremely robust. Very simply though, we'll go ahead and we'll just save this, and we will decide what this actual form is called. We'll decide that this form is actually going to be located in the ArkCase folder, and we're going to call this case details 2. We'll save it. Once we've saved this form, all I got to do is go back, synchronize the actual forms. You'll notice that we have case details, and then we can give someone access to it. Let's just give it to Ann, the administrator. So let's go back out to the reports module, and you'll notice now case details 2 is available, and it can be run. Going back into the admin section, there's a lot of other bells and whistles. You can create your own forms, your own workflow. The workflow can actually, you can see all the different workflows associated. You also have the ability to create your own data model. This data model obviously can leverage really anything that's BPMN 2.0 compliant. So if you created your actual workflows in, say, Visio, or in this case, we have a direct link to the Activity Designer, you can actually design your own workflows. And here are some of the workflows that I've already designed. We can go ahead and double click and open up one of those workflows. By actually designing our workflows here in the Activity Designer, you actually can go in, and once you've designed it, you can upload that workflow right into this individual section in Admin. Once you've done that, you then can utilize the workflow in Admin. Some of the actual workflows that we've already designed, you can take a look and see what they look like. That's a 2-step workflow. This is the one we used earlier in our workflow for the review and rework task and approval steps. You also have the ability to tie the actual forms and the workflows together in an actual rules spreadsheet. Additionally, some of the other bells and whistles that you have is you do have the ability to change labels. So you can change labels, whether they're actual labels for the modules, labels for columns, things along those lines. It's very easy to do so. So let me just show you very quickly. If I go into the actual module core, which allows me to change the module names on the left navigation, let me go ahead and type in complaint. As I started typing in complaints, you'll notice there's quite a few complaints in here, and you can see the left navigation is set up as complaints. Let's go ahead and change this. Maybe we wanted to be called incident. Once I actually update that, all I have to do is do a quick refresh. Once I refresh, it will then grab the new label bundle, and you'll see that you have updated the actual labels. This is really great for those that want to utilize ArkCase out of the box for the most part, but want to change the terminology. Every business has their own terminology, so it's very easy to do this through these robust labels. In addition, one of the other major powerful things in admin allows you to change all of these different lookup tables. So I talked about the different case types. You can change your case types by basically just adding a new case type. You can edit an existing one or delete one. Maybe you want to change the actual document types associated to your actual document list. Maybe you don't want it to be other in invoice. You can actually delete that list and add in example. If I enter in example, all I have to do is now go and take a look to see if other, attachment, and example, make sure it's in my document management section. So all I have to do is right click, hit document, and you can see here it is available to me. So once again, the actual lookups, label configuration, things along those lines are extremely robust. You also have the ability to upload logos and even custom CSS to change the look and feel of the information. In addition, you can also create your own correspondence templates like we talked about earlier. When you upload a correspondence template to a specific complaint or case, it pulls in the information of that case. So it utilizes a static template as you see here. The one that we used today was the acknowledgement letter. If I open up that acknowledgement letter, you'll notice why it's actually a template. If I open that up, you'll notice why it's actually a template. As you can see here, there's some static information on here, but some of these actual merge terms are where we pull in the actual metadata from the individual case or complaint to populate the specific correspondence. Once again, a correspondence can still be uploaded to a case, then edited, either online or offline, and then you can actually email them out. So there's a lot that can be done. It just gets you from a blank starting page to basically utilizing one of your static templates to pre-populate information. So as you can see there's a lot of information within the admin section. I hope you enjoyed this overall demo of the ArkCase legal version. ArkCase is extremely robust to support many different businesses and many different types of use cases. Legal just happens to be one of those that we see on a day-to-day basis, or the ability to create a complaint, take it over to an actual case, and use a workflow to actually process that information. Once again, this was ArkCase, the product.